Hello. We're going to be covering some topics in ancient world history. And today we're going to be looking at the College Board Curriculum Frameworks, Key Concept 2.1, Roman numeral 2.d. All right, and this is looking at Christianity based on core beliefs about the teachings and divinity of Jesus of Nazareth as recorded by his disciples, drew on Judaism and Roman and Hellenistic influences. Despite initial Roman imperial hostility, Christianity spread through the efforts of missionaries and merchants through many parts of Afro-Eurasia and eventually gained Roman imperial support by the time of Emperor Constantine. So I'm going to take this standard and just break it into 6 different parts, as a way that in the past I have in class explored this topic. This is not meant to be an all-inclusive way in which this topic can be covered, but just wanted to break this down. All right, so this video is going to be focusing on core beliefs and transition to universal religion. So trying to apply this Christianity based on the core beliefs about the teachings and divinity of Jesus of Nazareth as recorded by his disciples. So we're just really breaking this first part of the video down. And then a couple of other, 5 additional videos, I'm going to write down, the other parts of this key concept. As just a disclaimer, I am a lowly high school history teacher attempting to apply a curriculum framework. I'm not a professor of history, philosophy, theology, etc. I'm not a theologian. Please consult your own personal parents, priests, reverends, deacons, ministers, etc. for matters and questions of faith within your own personal life. All right, so based on the core beliefs about the teaching divinity of Jesus of Nazareth as recorded by his disciple. So if we're talking about this topic, all right, so it's important to understand where Christianity originates, all right, and of course how the religion eventually spreads, all right. So and of course this is contextually going on within the Roman Empire. All right. So what kind of ideas, right, did Jesus preach? One of the more well-known, right, is, would be the ideas that, were from the Sermon on the Mount. So I have an excerpt here from the source Matthew 5, book 17, Matthew book 5, verses 17 through 48 from the King James Version of the Holy Bible. So before he delivers the Sermon on the Mount, he's been traveling, right? And according to Matthew, large crowds from Galilee, Decapolis, Jerusalem, Judea, and the region across the Jordan followed him. All right. So now when Jesus saw the crowds, he went up on the mountainside and sat down. His disciples came to him, and he began to teach them. And he said, "Think not that I come to destroy the law or the prophets. I am not come to destroy, but to fulfill. Ye have heard that it was said of them of old time, Thou shalt not kill, and whoever shall kill shall be in danger of the judgment. But I say unto you, that whosoever is angry with his brother without a cause shall be in danger of judgment. Ye have heard that it hath been said, An eye for an eye, a tooth for a tooth. But I say unto you, that ye resist not evil, but whomsoever shall smite thee on thy right cheek, turn to him the other also. Ye have also heard that it hath been said, Thou shalt love thy neighbor and hate thine enemy. But I say unto you, love your enemies, bless them that curse you, do good to them that hate you, and pray for them which despitefully use you and persecute you. Be ye therefore perfect, even as your Father which in heaven is perfect." Okay. When we get into the basic beliefs that Christianity, Christians believe in, it's and of course, how they are influenced and where this comes from. This is obviously Judaism is a major core tenet, as you saw being referenced, all right, in this passage, all right. So, this is referring to Moses' law, right? The 10 Commandments and beyond that as well, all right? And, so when you talk about what the beliefs of Christianity are, and some of these we're going to be explored in other videos, there are some basic core beliefs that most Christians agree with. But to note here, there are irreconcilable differences in theology and a lack of consensus on the core tenets of Christianity, resulting in members of some branches of Christianity rejecting the practices and the beliefs of others. So what are some of these beliefs? That Jesus Christ was the Son of God, right? And of course, within Arianism, they believe begotten by the Father. Most other forms of Christianity believe that Jesus was the Son of, right, was the Son of God, begotten of the Father, and the Messiah, right, a messianic figure, Christ, in fulfillment with the messianic prophecies of the Old Testament, right? So referring to the Jewish holy texts, right? God sent his Son to earth to save humanity from the consequences of its sin. Jesus, right, Christians believe that Jesus gave his life on the cross, sometimes referred to as the crucifixion, and rose from the dead on the third day, right? The resurrection, the physical resurrection. Most Christians believe in the Trinity, right? That there's only one God, right? So that they are a monotheistic religious belief system, but they believe that there are three elements to this one God, right? God the Father, God the Son, and the Holy Spirit, right? And we will explore this topic in a later video. Christians believe that there is life after earthly death, and once again, we'll explore that in a different video. Christians believe in one baptism into the Christian church, whether this be as an infant or as an adult, is an outward sign of the inward commitment to the teachings of Jesus. And Christianity is an apocalyptic belief system. They believe in a last judgment after the resurrection of the dead and the reuniting of a person's soul with its own physical body. Right, and I have some other just on my webpage, Christian beliefs, or just words that you hear within Christianity, commonly used phrases and the such. So if this thing ever, there we go. All right, so so if you kind of just look at some of these basics, some of these we've already talked about, but you'll often hear Eucharist and communion. The Annunciation, right, as an event, the Nativity as an event, right, the Magi, by tradition there were three, right, within Christianity. These are common parts that are generally common aspects of Christianity that are commonly accepted: crucifixion, resurrection, last judgment, all right, and the Council of Nicaea, all right. As far as other beliefs, if you're looking at the diversity within Christianity, there are some major branches within Christianity, and then there are some lesser branches, right? Of less numbers of people within Christianity. All right. So when you look at the diversity that exists, if you're looking at ancient world history, you're not going to be dealing with post, the Protestant Reformation or anything that happens after the Protestant Reformation, which is in the 1500s. But in ancient world history, you will be looking at the Roman Catholic Church, the Latin Church, right? So one that originates in the Roman Empire. You'll be looking at the Orthodox Christianity or the Greek Christianity. This is the church that, you could say this originates in the Roman Empire, or you could say this officially comes into being following the Schism of 1054. Coptic Christianity is a major form of Christianity that originates in the ancient world and survives up until today. And of course, Nestorian Christianity, right? And Nestorian Christianity is we'll look at this topic when we look at the spread of Christianity in a later video. All right. So those are some basics. As far as Christianity, why it spreads, right? How it spreads. Christianity is a universal religion or universalizing religion. So let's just take a quick second and do a definition of this. This is religions that offer belief systems that are attractive to a universal population. They look for new members, welcome anyone who wishes to adopt the belief system. Universalizing religions, have many diverse members, come from many different ethnic backgrounds. Hence the term universal. Therefore, it's evident that universal religions consist of many different ethnic groups, right? Because they convert and accept anyone of any background, right? That are not, unusual, or not closely tied to one location, right? So there's when you look at different religions in the ancient world, you'll often break them down into a general category, right, and or a large basket, albeit whether or not they are an ethnic religion or a universal or universalizing religion. So Judaism, which is the kind of primary religion in which Christianity springs, would be categorized as an ethnic religion. So some things have to change within Christianity. So you kind of get to the core beliefs. Something has to change within Christianity for it to make that transition from an ethnic religion into a universalizing religion. And of course, when you talk about this, this transition has been made, was made early on within the Christian church. Other religions that we often refer to as universal religions are, Islam is a universal or universalizing religion. Buddhism, right, often cited as another example of a universal or universalizing religion. Christianity is the largest of these types of religions in both area, covered on planet Earth, and total number of followers. Somewhere in the neighborhood of 2 billion adherents. Founded on the teaching of Jesus, it's monotheistic, right? Believe in God, Trinity, Jesus Christ, the Son of God. There's 3 main branches, 2 of which derive from the ancient world history and 1 from the 1500s and subsequent schisms that occurred after that. Roman Catholics, predominant in southwestern Europe and Latin America, Protestants, in northwestern Europe and North America, Orthodox within Eastern Europe. Right, so in Eastern Orthodox is the largest single religious faith in Greece, Cyprus, and Russia today. All right, so when you talk about what changed within the core beliefs that makes them a universal religion, one such example you could cite would be the events of the Council of Jerusalem, circa 50 CE. So following the timeline of Christianity, the crucifixion of Jesus happens around the year 30 CE, right? So, give or take a couple of years. So this is about 20 years following the crucifixion of Jesus. So, and we see that, at the Council of Jerusalem, decision is made, right? Known as the Apostolic Decree, right? So, in which was that most Mosaic laws based on Moses, right, from the Old Testament of the Christian Holy Bible, including the requirement for circumcision of males, was not obligatory for Gentile converts, right? So, in order to make it easier for Jewish Christian apostolizers, the proselytization, right, to induce Gentile prospects, to join the Christian movement. So, with Judaism being an ethnic religion, this process of circumcision is done, shortly after birth. If you're trying to convert people to that religion, making that a requirement might dissuade some individuals. So, this is often viewed as, one of the many things that changes within Christianity's core belief systems that helps the apostolization process, the conversion process to the religion. Okay, if you're looking at, from an ancient world history perspective, if you're looking at these core beliefs of Christianity, there's a couple of different ways a couple of different angles you can take. One is looking at causation and this notion of apocalyptic belief systems. So later on, when you get into a more modern world history, you can look at millenarianism and or millenarian movements. And there are a couple, very well-known millenarian movements that look at, that apply the scale of causation to the core belief of apocalyptic beliefs. Right? One is the Taiping Rebellion. This occurs in China in the 1850s and first half of the 1860s, and this is one of the more deadly conflicts in world history. Right. Another example would be the Xhosa cattle killing in South Africa. Those events take place in 1856 to 1857. Or you could also see the ghost dance in the United States in 1889 into 1890, resulting in the events of Wounded Knee. So I'm not going to go into these, but these are things that you would learn about in a modern world history course. We talk about the application of core beliefs, looking at religious responses to wealth accumulation towards merchants and trade. You can be using or applying the skill of continuity and change over time. You can look at ways in which early Christianity condemns trade. You can look at ways in which early Christianity views wealth accumulation negatively, or you can also look at how Christianity moderates the earlier positions on this topic over time, right? So what we look for in history is the application of these beliefs, and through the skills, right, that we use, like causation and CCOT, and obviously you could also compare, right? So what are the similarities between Christianity and Christians and other religions? What are the differences between Christians and other religions on topics such as wealth accumulation or merchant activity, right? And when you look at primary sources, think about your sources and maybe categorize your sources and apply the skills to those categories, right? So, and when you look at the major universal religions, you're making comparisons. One would assume you are comparing them to other universal religions, such as Buddhism or Islam, all right? So, one example, right, of kind of looking at primary sources and what the belief systems within Christianity say about wealth accumulation. I've got a kind of a series of these that you can read over and just think about. All right. One is the Christian Bible, right? Using the Christian Bible, the New Testament. All right. So here's an excerpt, right, from the book of Matthew. So written around 70 to 80 CE. Okay. Here's another excerpt looking at this exact same topic. So this is from 450, all right, 450. So this is from a Christian monk, right, looking at the life of Melania the Younger, all right. So, so feel free to read through that. So here's another source, right, looking once again about another 500, 600 years later. We have another monastic example here, so feel free to read through that. All right. Here's from the scholasticism movement, right? Thomas Aquinas, from his Summa Theologica from 1273. All right. So how is wealth and wealth accumulation in merchant and trade being viewed here? And here's a final one. I believe it's a final one from a merchant, right? And this is from the 14th century. From the 14th century, so 1300s. Okay. So when you look at, right, when you're looking at these, can you place them into these are what we would call categories of this is what I call categories of analysis in my classes. Can you sort these sources into these different categories of analysis? Could you use evidence from these documents to support those categories of analysis? Right. So, right, and this is a skill that we work on in class. All right, so that is all for today. I'm just gonna finish scrolling through these. I'll pick up with this topic in the next video. Sapriati.